So we'll get started in whatever position you find most comfortable. You could choose a seated position or you could lay down on your mat. You can choose to sit on some kind of a prop or a piece of furniture if you have one nearby. And we'll take a moment to softly close the eyes or turn the gaze downwards. Let the shoulders soften down away from the ears. Start to allow a little bit of tension to leave the body with each breath out, softening the muscles of the face, releasing the jaw, allowing the fingers and toes to find a comfortable, neutral position. Maybe allowing yourself to feel a bit heavier on the ground. Settling into the support beneath you. And once you feel settled where you are, start to turn your attention to your breathing, not necessarily trying to change anything. First, just allowing yourself to notice how your breathing feels as you inhale and exhale. Noticing what parts of the body move as you breathe. Noticing the speed and the quality of your breathing. And you may start to notice, even without meaning to, that you're slowing your breath down a little bit. If you do notice that your breath is still a bit fast, or if you're breathing kind of shallow, try drawing the next inhale a little bit deeper into the body. Visualize the breath traveling in through the nose, all the way down the back of the throat, filling up the lungs, allowing the diaphragm to press down, the belly rises. And then as we exhale, going the opposite direction, belly softens. Air travels all the way back up and out as the ribs soften, lungs empty. Allowing each inhale and each exhale to be full and slow. Giving yourself permission to take the time to slow down. We want to find a balance between that slower, deeper breath and a sense of ease. So if you find that you're feeling that you're forcing it, try to let a little bit of that depth go. Allow yourself to find a rhythm that feels comfortable and sustainable. Again, maybe a little bit deeper than usual, but nothing too forceful. Once you found that rhythm, start to invite some small movement back into the body, gently wiggling fingers, wiggling toes. Maybe circling wrists and ankles if that's available to you. Changing directions. And maybe starting to turn the head from side to side. And let's bring it all the way back to stillness. This next part you can do seated or laying down, so remaining wherever you are as long as you're comfortable. Feeling free to switch it up if you're not. Let's tuck the chin in towards the chest and then release. Coming the way back up. Again, tuck the chin into the chest and then release. If you want, you can match this movement with your breath, exhaling as you tuck your chin and inhaling as you release, letting that head move back. And then we'll come back upright. And let's take the chin over towards the left shoulder. Drop it down towards the left. Maybe feel a little bit of a deeper stretch along the right side of the neck. Take a couple of inhales and exhales. And then we'll move all the way back to center. On the next inhale, bring the chin down towards the right shoulder. Tuck the chin in slightly. Find a little bit of a deeper stretch along the left side of the neck. Drop the left shoulder down away from the ear. And breathe slow and steady. And let's release. We'll come all the way back up. This next part, again, you can do seated or laying down, whichever you prefer. Let's inhale, taking the arms up overhead. Maybe bring the palms to touch if that's comfortable. And then as we exhale, we'll release the arms back down at the sides. It's almost like making snow angels if you're laying down. If you're sitting up, really focusing on lifting up out of the hips as you inhale. And in either case, focusing on lengthening both sides of the body on the in-breath and softening on the out-breath. Good. On this next one, let's leave the left hand down and inhale just the right arm up overhead. Start to drop the left hand down and reach the right arm up and over towards the left side, lengthening a little bit more along the right side of the body. Breathe in, reach up. Breathe out, maybe hinge a little bit deeper. The gaze can go wherever is comfortable for your neck. And allow your gaze to soften, releasing any tension from the face. Inhale, coming all the way back to center and switch sides. Drop the right hand down. Inhale, the left arm up and over towards the right side. Breathing in to lengthen and breathing out, maybe hinging a little bit deeper. Good, let's release, coming all the way back to center. Take a moment to either lift and lower the shoulders or roll through the shoulders. Letting all of that go. And one more little stretch for the arms, chest, upper body. As we inhale, let's take the arms up overhead. If it's comfortable, we'll interlace the fingers and turn the palms out. Really reach up and then start to reach out in front of you as you exhale. Draw those hands down in front of the body. Releasing all the way at the bottom. Taking the hands out to the sides and inhale, reaching up once again. Interlacing the fingers, turning palms out. And exhaling the arms down in front of the body. Really taking your time. Allowing your movement to match your breath. Noticing what sensation arises for you as you move through these motions, maybe feeling a stretch through the palms of the hands, the fingertips, maybe feeling it between the shoulder blades, maybe again alongside the body. And then we'll release the hands and come to stillness for a moment, maybe closing the eyes, turning the attention inward, taking a couple of slow, full, complete breaths. And then opening your eyes. If you're not there already, we'll make our way down onto the mat into a reclined position, moving any props out of the way that you don't need. And coming all the way down onto your back. Bringing both knees in towards the chest, wrapping the hands around the shins or the hamstrings, and we'll rock gently from side to side, massaging the low back. Drawing those knees in nice and close. Taking your time, noticing the transfer of weight from one side of the body to the other as you shift your knees from side to side. And let's bring it all the way back to center. We'll keep the right knee hugging in. We'll release the left foot out onto the ground. You can either put your left foot flat with your knee bent. If you have tightness along the front of your left hip, this is a good option. If it feels comfortable for you, you could extend your left leg all the way out, pressing the heel forward, drawing the toes back towards the shin. Do the same with the foot on the right, drawing the toes back towards the shin, flexing at the ankle, making that leg a little bit more active. As we inhale here, let's focus on the left leg, either pressing that heel down into the ground or out towards the top of the mat. And then as we exhale, draw that right knee in maybe a little bit closer. Allowing your shoulders to soften down onto the ground. Let your chin be gently tucked. Breathe in, allow the body to fill up, and breathe out, allow the body to soften. And let's release that side, extending the right leg out, either placing the right foot flat onto the ground or reaching the right heel towards the top of the mat. We'll draw the left knee in towards the body, wrapping hands around the shin or around the hamstring. We'll flex at the left ankle. If the right leg is extended, flexing at the right ankle as well. As we inhale, we'll focus on that right leg, either pressing down through the bottom of the foot or pressing forward. And then on each exhale, draw the left knee in a little bit closer. Tucking the shoulder blades down the back, allowing them to press equally into the mat. Both hips, both shoulders are equally heavy. Breathe in, fill up, create some expansion. Breathe out, find some softness. Good, let's release that side. Place both feet onto the ground about hip distance apart, knees bent. And take the arms out either into a T shape or a cactus with arms bent at the elbows. Take a nice deep breath in, and then as you exhale, let both knees drift over towards one side. Inhale all the way back up through center and exhale over to the other side. Gently shifting the knees back and forth side to side, bringing some movement into the hips. And paying attention to how that sensation travels through the body As an example, when my knees move over to the right, I feel a little bit of a stretch through my left low back and vice versa. Feel a deeper heaviness through one shoulder or the other. Different parts of the feet connect with the ground. You could choose if you'd like to turn your head in the opposite direction of your knees. So as your knees go over to the right, turning your gaze left and vice versa. Bringing a little bit of a stretch into one side of the neck or the other. Continue to flow nice and smooth and slow with the breath. And the next time your knees come all the way over to the left side, allow them to rest down on the ground. You can choose if you want, if it's comfortable for you, to tuck your left foot onto the top of your right knee. It just puts a little bit of an extra stretch on the outer right hip and the IT band. If it's uncomfortable for your knee for any reason, just allow that left foot to continue to rest on the floor. You can leave your arms in that T or cactus shape, or you can bring them to rest on your belly and on your heart. And then if you haven't already, if it's comfortable for you, take your gaze over towards the right side. Take a couple of slow inhales and exhales here. Allowing both feet to remain flexed. And when you're ready, if you did, place your left foot over top of your right knee, placing it back down onto the ground. Take those knees all the way back up into center. Take the arms back out into T and gently shift those knees from side to side, allowing a little bit of movement back and forth. And then the next time the knees come all the way over to the right, we'll allow them to rest down onto the ground, flexing at the ankles. An option to leave the right foot on the floor or to press it down on top of the left knee. A little bit of extra weight. And only if it's comfortable for you. If you feel any discomfort in your knee or your hip, placing that right foot back down onto the ground. You can leave your arms into your cactus. Or again, you could bring them to rest on your torso, one on your belly, one on your heart to feel your breath. And maybe take the gaze over towards the left side if you haven't already. Breathing slowly in and slowly out. Let's place that right foot back down onto the ground if it's not there already. Gently bring the knees all the way back up to center. Let's take the feet a little bit wider than the knees and let the knees rest against each other. Coming into a more restorative pose. The legs support themselves. You can leave your hands again resting on your torso. If you'd like to stretch a little bit more through the upper body, you could take hold of opposite elbows and bring those arms up overhead. Tucking the chin in slightly, maybe closing your eyes. If there's any discomfort in your low back, maybe press down into the feet, lift the hips up, tuck the tailbone forward and up, and then lower the hips back down once again. If you're comfortable where you are, you can stay. If you'd like a little bit more of a hip opener, you can walk your feet towards one another so they come together on the mat, and then allow the knees to fall open to the sides. Bottoms of the feet come together. You can move them closer to your body for a little bit more intensity or further away for a softer pose. You can choose if you want to support your knees by placing cushions or bolsters or blocks underneath of them. Again, if there's any discomfort through the hips or through the knees, you always have the option to go back to the triangle shape of the legs, knees resting against each other, feet a little bit wider than the knees, maybe resting on the edges of the mat. Taking whichever variation suits you right now. And then allowing yourself to soften into it, taking note of each and every place where the body touches down on the ground or on some kind of prop. And then allowing yourself to get a bit heavier. As you inhale, feel the expansion of the rib cage, the rise of the belly, creating some space in the body. And as you exhale, find some softness. Let something go, something that you don't need anymore, whether it's tension, whether it's thoughts, something that's not serving you. Release it out, let it go. Taking one or two more slow, steady breaths here, really filling up all the way and releasing, emptying out all the way. And then when you're ready, bringing the arms back down alongside the body if they're not there already. Use the hands to guide the knees back up towards one another again if they're not there already. Let's pause for a moment with the feet about hip distance apart. Knees, hips, and ankles all in one line, parallel one leg to the other. And from here, let's cross the right ankle over top of the left thigh, flexing at the right ankle so the toes draw back towards the shin. We'll press the right knee away from the body, using the right hand to actively press against the right thigh. We're looking for a little bit of a stretch along the outer right hip here. If you're already feeling it, you can stay as you are. If you don't feel it just yet and you'd like to move deeper into the pose, you can lift your left foot off the floor, thread your right hand in between your legs, and wrap both hands around the back of the left hamstrings. If it's not quite attainable to reach your hands together, you could use a strap or scarf wrapping around the back of your legs so that you have a little bit more space. If you have a block or a cushion handy, you could also choose to rest your left foot on a block or a cushion, again, so you have a little bit more space. Wherever you land, see if you can continue to focus on pressing that right knee away from the body, opening up through the right hip. And if you are in a position where you're holding onto your left leg, see if you can guide that left leg in a little bit closer as you exhale. Keep the shoulders soft and away from the ears. If you're in a position where you are holding onto the back of your leg and you're still not feeling any kind of sensation, see if you can draw your tailbone down towards the ground, creating a little bit of space between the low back and the mat. That intensifies the stretch a little bit, so only do that if you're in a position where you're not feeling it yet. As you breathe in, visualize the right knee moving away, and as you breathe out, drawing the left knee in. One or two more slow breaths here. release that sigh, bringing the left foot back down if it's not there already. Right foot comes down beside the left, and we'll pause in that neutral shape. Hips in line with knees, which are in line with ankles, parallel with one another. Noticing any differences from one side of the body to the other side. And then when you're ready, we'll switch, taking the left ankle across the top of the right thigh. We'll flex at the left ankle so the toes draw back towards the shin, and then press the left knee away from the body. Take a moment here to check in, noticing what you feel in the outer left hip. It might be different, again, from one side to the other. If you're not feeling anything there just yet and you'd like to move to a different shape, you can lift your right foot off the ground. Thread your left hand in between your legs and wrap both hands around the back of the right hamstring. And some other options are to use a strap or a scarf around the back of your right leg, so there's a little bit more space there. You could also choose to rest your right foot on top of something, a cushion, a block, a bolster, instead of holding onto that leg. Finding something that works for you, something that maybe feels like there's a little bit of tension in the left hip, but nothing too intense. Something you can manage for the duration of the pose, that you can breathe comfortably through. Once you've found that position, continue to work the left knee away from the body as you inhale. And if it's available, working the right knee in towards the body as you exhale, keeping your focus on your breathing. You notice that your mind starts to wander in some of these longer held poses. Know that that is normal, but that it's part of the practice to try to keep your attention focused. So guiding attention back to the present moment, back to the shape you're in, back to the sensation of breath. Without judgment. As I said, it's normal for the mind to wander. It's what we do when that happens. That's important. One or two more breaths on this side. And then when you're ready, releasing the feet down, hip distance apart. Knees stack over the ankles. We'll pause there. Taking a moment to check in. And from here, let's take the right foot up towards the ceiling. We'll take the hands to the back of the right hamstrings. And we'll start off by pointing the toes up towards the ceiling and then flexing at the ankle, drawing the toes back down. Alternating back and forth between pointing and flexing. Noticing what you feel as you move. As I extend my toes upwards, I feel a little bit of a stretch across the top of my ankle. As I bring my toes down, I feel a little bit of the stretch through my calf, through the base of my foot, even up into my hamstring. Once you start to notice some kind of sensation, see if you can follow that sensation to where it stops. Notice where the edge is. Notice where you feel this movement and notice where you don't. Let's start to take the foot in circles, rotating at the ankle. Taking your time. Still paying attention to those sensations. Notice if they change at all as you add some lateral movement. Let's take that foot in the other direction, rotating the opposite way. Bring the leg back to stillness, flexing at the ankle, drawing the toes down. And as much as you comfortably can, straightening out that leg, drawing up through the heel, lengthening the back of the leg. If you're all the way straight and it still feels really comfortable for you, you're not feeling a lot of sensation, you can move your hands from the back of your hamstrings up to the back of your calf. Or if you have a strap handy, you can place a strap around the ball of your foot. And if it's accessible, you could hold onto your foot, onto your toes. As much as possible, though, try to keep your arms relaxed. Try to keep your shoulders relaxed. Using those arms as just a little bit of extra weight on the leg. Never forcing it in deeper than it's ready to go. Allow yourself the time that you need to breathe into it, releasing that tension. And then as you feel the tension ease, as you feel that sensation leaving, you can move a little bit deeper, finding that edge. Breathing slowly and deeply, allowing your gaze to focus softly on something ahead of you or to close your eyes, gazing inwards. Another alternate option, if you'd like, you can extend your left leg out, placing your heel down on the ground and pressing that heel forward. You may find that that changes the way that the right leg feels. So if you want to go ahead with extending the left leg out, feel comfortable with moving the position of your hands, moving the position of your right leg. Breathing in and breathing out. I find in poses where there's a little bit more tension, I like to visualize the breath as a ball of light. As I inhale, drawing the breath in, feel that ball of light move down into the body, traveling into whichever area is experiencing the tension. Leaving a little bit of warmth behind. Exhaling, drawing that light back up and out. Maybe it's not quite so bright. Maybe it's taking a little bit of that tension out of the body, clearing it out. Maybe it's a different color. I breathe in and down, the ball of light is white. Fresh energy. Delivers a little bit of warmth, a little bit of release. When you exhale, it's a little bit pink, a little bit red. Some of that tension is leaving the body, traveling all the way back up and out. Take a moment to check in, adjust if you need to. Take 3 more slow, full, deep breaths here. And then we'll release, releasing the hands, bringing the right foot all the way back down onto the ground, knees slightly bent. Foot rest comfortably on the floor. Take a moment here. And then when you're ready, lift the left foot up towards the ceiling, bring the hands to the back of the hamstrings. Just as we did on the other side, we'll start by pointing the toes up towards the ceiling and then flexing them back down. Bring the toes down towards the body. Pointing and flexing, going back and forth between the two. Really taking your time, exploring how you feel as you make these movements. And then we'll start to take the foot in circles, rotating at the ankle. Noticing if that changes anything for you. Take a foot in the other direction, rotating the opposite way. And then finally, let's bring the foot to stillness. We'll flex at the ankles so the toes are drawing down. From here, we'll start to straighten out that leg, pressing up through the left heel. You can choose to stay as you are with hands on your hamstrings. Or if it's comfortable for you, you can move your hands up to the back of your calf or onto your foot. If you have a strap handy, you could place a strap around the ball of your foot just below your toes. As much as you can, try to leave your arms relaxed, allowing them to be a bit of extra weight rather than a force. And you have the option here as well to extend your right leg out if you'd like, allowing the heel to rest down on the ground, pressing forward through the bottom of the foot. Remembering that that might mean you need to adjust how you're holding onto your left leg, where your left leg is positioned. One side might feel very different from the other, so really taking the time to listen to your body and give yourself what you need today. Allowing your focus to be on your breathing. In through the nose and out through the nose if that's possible. Visualizing the breath as it travels through the body. If you notice that your shoulders are lifting or tensing, or you're clenching through your jaw, try to soften that. And let the focus be on the back of the left leg and maybe along the front of the right hip if that right leg is extended. Take a moment to check in, adjust if you need. And then we'll take 3 more slow, deep breaths on this side. When you're ready, releasing, letting your hands move off of your leg or your strap, placing the left foot back down onto the ground, knee bend. The right leg can be extended or with the foot resting on the floor and knee bend. And take a moment just to pause. If you feel that there's any other movement you need before we move into our final resting pose, Shavasana, feeling free to take that now. If you do feel ready, walking your feet out to the top corners of your mat, allowing your toes to rock open to the sides. If it's uncomfortable to have your legs fully extended and maybe your low back is finding some discomfort in the shape, you can always choose the option of placing your feet on the floor mat distance apart and allowing the knees to rest against each other. You could also choose to support your legs, placing blocks or a bolster under your knees. If laying down is not something that feels comfortable for you right now, you could also choose a seated position, really whatever allows you to rest completely. Let's take a moment to draw the shoulders down the back, pressing the shoulder blades into the mat, allowing the arms to take up as much room on the ground as you need. Palms can face up towards the ceiling or down towards the floor, whatever you prefer. Tuck the chin down towards the heart to lengthen the back of the neck. Allow the eyes to softly close or allowing the gaze to rest downward. Releasing the jaw open and letting the tongue fall away from the roof of the mouth. There's a small space between upper and lower teeth. If you have been focusing on the breath, even letting that go, allowing the breathing to return to a comfortable natural rhythm. Give yourself permission to rest, just to be here right now. In this present moment, allow your body to absorb all of the practice. You're welcome to stay in the shape as long as you'd like. If you'd like to close the class with us, whenever you're ready, starting to gently wiggle fingers and toes. Circling wrists and ankles. And then gently turning the head from side to side. And let's bring it back to stillness. Slowly, gently draw both knees in towards the chest, wrapping hands either around shins or hamstrings. You can stay in stillness or you can rock gently from side to side. And then we'll roll all the way over onto one side of the body, letting the knees touch down onto the ground. Extending that lower arm underneath of your head so that your head has something to rest on. Maybe taking a moment to set an intention for the rest of your day before you rise. And then moving slowly, coming all the way up to whichever seated position is most comfortable for you. Using any kind of props that you might want. Allowing yourself to sit up nice and tall, grounding down equally through both sitting bones. Lengthening up through the crown of the head, we'll drop the shoulders down, bring the hands together in front of the heart, sealing the outer edge of the palms and the tips of the fingers, leaving a small space in the middle of the hands. From the light that shines in me to the light that shines in each of you. Namaste.